Hi everyone, I'm Melissa D'Arabian, the LACTAID brand spokesperson, and I'm so excited to be here today on behalf of the LACTAID brand with my friend Lana Franzen.
Hello.
Thanks for coming.
Of course.
Lana's a nutrition expert from National Dairy Council, and we have some really delicious lactose-free recipes and nutrition information to share with you today, all made possible by the LACTAID brand and National Dairy Council.
Hi guys, as Melissa mentioned, I'm Lana Franzen, and while we are here cooking a delicious lactose-free meal, Melissa and I will also be joining you all on Twitter and answering viewer questions tweeted to @National Dairy Council using the hashtag BeyondLI. And in addition to those questions, 5 lucky participants on Twitter will win a prize. And also joining us today are 2 blogger superstars, Jennifer Medeiros from Maccoby Scribe and Liz Mays from A Nut in a Nutshell. Ladies, say hi to everyone.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Medeiros from Maccoby Scribe. I'm lactose intolerant, so I'm very excited to be talking with Lynn and Lana on how I can make delicious lactose-free recipes that are good for me too.
Hi, hello, I'm Liz Mays of A Nut in a Nutshell, and I'm also super excited to be here. I am lactose intolerant, so hearing from Lana on how I can make sure I'm getting nutrients I need through the recipes I love is great.
It's so great to have you both here. And similar to you, I have a personal relationship with lactose intolerance because both my husband and 2 of my children are lactose intolerant. And I use LACTAID products because they are real dairy just without the lactose. So people with a sensitivity to dairy due to lactose can enjoy them all without discomfort. Okay, before we dive into the cooking, let's talk about the benefits of including lactose-free dairy products like LACTAID products into your everyday diet.
Some of you may already know this, but many people who are lactose intolerant or dairy sensitive avoid dairy and may miss out on all the important health benefits low-fat and fat-free dairy foods provide. Avoiding dairy foods like milk, cheese, and yogurt means potentially missing out on essential nutrients like calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin D that help support strong bones. Milk is also a good source of high-quality protein, a nutrient that helps you build and repair muscle tissue. It's important to remember that lactose-free does not always mean dairy-free, and that lactose-free dairy products from the LACTAID brand are real dairy.
Absolutely, Lana. Dairy products are a good source of so many nutrients. I started using LACTAID dairy products in my cooking when I discovered that my husband and one of my daughters didn't feel well after eating certain dairy foods. So because they are sensitive to dairy due to lactose, I knew that lactose-free dairy products from the LACTAID brand would be the perfect solution for us. And you know what? It has been. Everyone can eat my recipes, get the nutrients they need without discomfort.
Exactly. And it's important that those 9 years of age and older consume the 3 daily servings of low-fat and fat-free dairy products recommended by the Dietary Guidelines for Americans to get those nutrients. With products like lactose-free milk and cottage cheese that the LACTAID brand offers, everyone in your family can enjoy the meals they love without discomfort. LACTAID brand also offers ice cream and eggnog,
Which is, by the way, so super good.
oh, and I would have totally vouched for that. And in addition to those lactose-free dairy products, most people who are lactose intolerant can tolerate natural cheeses, which contain minimal amounts of lactose, or yogurt, whose live active cultures help break down the lactose.
You know, and that is really important information to know, Lana, and I think that a lot of people don't know that, so thank you.
Sure.
Today, with Lana's help, I'm gonna be preparing a full holiday meal for those of you who are lactose intolerant or might have someone in your family who suffers from the discomfort that lactose intolerance can cause. So, before we get started cooking, Lana, let's check to see if we have any questions on Twitter.
Great idea, Melissa. And it looks like we do have some questions coming in already. And let me just hop over to the first question.
Okay.
I see we've got one from Laura Lynn, and she's asking, does LACTAID milk have all the nutrients of regular milk? LACTAID milk is 100% real milk. That's the great news. It just does not have the lactose. It also contains all the nutrients that are found in regular milk, such as that calcium, that phosphorus, that vitamin D, and that high quality protein, nutrients that we don't want to miss out on. And I'm going to move on to our second question, Melissa. And this is coming from KT Gerber. And KT is asking, why is dairy important for a diet for lactose intolerance? So this is going back to when we think avoidance. Avoiding those dairy products means potentially missing out on those essential nutrients. That calcium, that bone-building vitamin D, we don't want to miss out on that. And that high-quality protein is definitely something that's going to help keep our muscles strong and make sure that we keep our bodies healthy. So not something we want to miss out on.
And as I have 4 little girls at home, and as a mom of 4, I want to make sure that my kids are getting that nutrient package and that their bones are getting what they need. So lactate is a great way to make sure that they're getting those nutrients.
Yep, and that's really one of the main things we want to share today is that you don't have to avoid dairy because of lactose intolerance.
Well, that's exactly right. So I'm thinking it's now time to cook.
I say it is time to cook,
Yeah,
Melissa,
so
and I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the eating part.
Yes, me too. That's always the highlight.
Keep those Twitter questions coming. Okay, I'm going to walk you through a full holiday meal. And what better way to start out your holiday dinner than with a spinach salad with a creamy blue cheese and bacon dressing.
Yum.
Oh yes, I came up with this recipe because my kids and my husband, and who are we kidding? I love creamy dressings, but sometimes we found that creamy dressings cause them discomfort. So this is a recipe that I created using LACTAID cottage cheese instead of sour cream and lots of cheeses. So I use LACTAID cottage cheese and I use a little bit of mayonnaise. So, and as you can see, oh, and by the way, there's blue cheese in here and there's also some bacon in there. Who doesn't love that? The salad it's a really simple salad to put together, but we've got tomato, we've got baby spinach, we've got some slivered almonds to add some crunch. So this is a delicious way to start a holiday meal without having the lactose that can upset my family's stomachs. So should we dive in?
No doubt, absolutely. And I love the color. There's some great color going on here, and also the you can see the chunks. You can see the chunks of the blue cheese and the bacon. And Melissa, I am curious how you use cottage cheese in other recipes. Now that I made you take a big bite.
Oh, no, that's fine. We're going to be eating and talking for the next hour, so settle in. By the way, I'm like, how creamy and good is my recipe?
Wow.
Which, by the way, you can get all the recipes from today you can find on the LACTAID website, lactaid.com, or you can also go over to the Facebook page. Yes, but cottage cheese. Look, I love cottage cheese because it's so full of protein. It's like 12 grams of protein in one serving, which I love. I'm a protein crazy lady. I love it. But I like it because I can go savory with cottage cheese, put in herbs. I can go sweet with it, serve it with some fruit. You can blend it up and put it into guacamole. But there's so many options.
So versatile.
It is. It's really versatile. It's not just a great snack. It's a great ingredient. And for the creamy dressing here, I have a little secret, which is that I took a half a cup of the LACTAID cottage cheese and I blended it up with a couple tablespoons of warm water. And that makes a really creamy sauce, which is a great base for any sort of creamy dressing, sauce, dips, whatever you want to do. So very versatile.
That's a great tip. So kind of making that base, and then like you said, you can make it go whatever direction you want.
That's exactly right. And going either sweet or savory. Why not? Okay, Jennifer, did you have a question?
I did. What are the nutritional benefits of the LACTAID cottage cheese? Are they the same as cottage cheese regularly?
Well, I think that's a question for you.
Great. So glad you asked, Jennifer. Yes, they are. Because lactose-free dairy products from LACTAID brand are real dairy, the nutritional benefits are the same as they would be with other dairy products. So LACTAID cottage cheese is low fat. It's an excellent source of protein like all cottage cheese. And bottom line, It tastes great.
It really does taste great.
It does. Amazing flavor.
But we won't sit here and eat the whole time. We will actually do some cooking. Oh, and we'll take also some Twitter
Okay,
questions.
here we go. Another Twitter question coming in.
Okay.
So this is from Molina Alexis.
Okay.
And she is asking, how did you discover LACTAID dairy products, Melissa?
Oh, well, I love LACTAID. I will tell you, my story with LACTAID actually dates back to my teenage years when it first came out. So now I'm really dating myself. But anyway, yes, when I was a teenager, I also suffered from lactose intolerance. So I frankly just avoided dairy. And then LACTAID came out and my mom discovered LACTAID and she introduced it into my diet and it changed my world. So fast forward years later when I'm married to my husband and I have one daughter who they're both having discomfort due to the lactose in dairy. I immediately go back to, oh, you know what? I wonder if they have the same thing that I have. And indeed they did. I switched over to LACTAID and immediately,
wow,
that fixed the problem. So
game changer.
You know what? It really is a game changer for a lot of people. So, I mean, it certainly was for us and our family. And then since then, I've actually had a second daughter who we've discovered is lactose intolerant. So now the whole family.
You know, but amazing you've got solutions. I think
right.
that's really the beauty of what we're doing today is these solutions that allow you to keep enjoying the dairy foods that you love.
That's okay, because there's nothing like creamy dairy, is there?
Dairy goodness you can't replace.
No, and dairy is goodness.
Yes.
I like the way you think, Lana Bronson. Okay, so next up on the lactose-free menu is my hearty and delicious lactose-free chicken pot pie. Yes, you can have creamy chicken pot pie even if you are lactose intolerant. So normally chicken pot pie is made with milk. So using LACTAID milk, which again is real dairy milk just without the lactose, for your lactose intolerant friends and family, ensures that they can enjoy it without discomfort. And this is actually going to be really easy to make. We're going to make it for you live here, just right now.
Yes,
so,
here comes the action.
Immediately.
Yeah.
To start, you're going to preheat your oven to 425. We've actually already done that, so we sneaked a little ahead. I went ahead and heated up my pan here. I'm going to put in 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, and then I'm going to cook 1/3 of a cup of chopped onion. I'm going to cook this until the onion is soft or translucent. Great. So I'll just stir that around for a second. There we go. That'll just take a second. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a flavorful roux. Roux is just half fat, half flour, and it's usually the base of like a gravy or a cream sauce, a bechamel, which is a milky sauce. That's what we're making here. Okay. But we're going to do it without the lactose. The fun is just beginning. Okay, 1/3 of a cup of flour. I'll just sprinkle it on in here. And then I'm going to stir this and let it cook a little bit. You want to get rid of that raw flour flavor. So this will be just a minute. And then I'm going to add in my stock. I've got some chicken stock and some LACTAID milk. All right. So this is exactly what I'm doing. It's going to look kind of like a thick paste, but that's all right. You're going to whisk it out and it'll get nice and smooth in a little bit.
And I'm going to grab that LACTAID milk for you.
Oh, great. Perfect. Yes. We need 3/4 of a cup of the LACTAID milk.
Okay, perfect.
Right? And you know what? You'll know that your flour is ready to go when it starts to bubble a little bit. All right, so when that does that, let's switch to a whisk. Great time for that. Oh, perfect. 3/4 of a cup. And we're using the reduced fat.
Yes.
All right, this is 1.5 cups of chicken stock. Just whisk it on in. Don't worry if it seems like it's a little bit lumpy. It'll whisk out and get nice and smooth. Voila. We'll turn this up. And then
looks like it's coming along very nice.
Yeah, it will. There we go.
You ready?
And then 3/4 of a cup of the reduced fat LACTAID milk. And look at that. This is going to make that creamy gravy that you're used to in your chicken pot pie. And I know people who are lactose intolerant who are watching this are thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to have that and not have that discomfort. Yes, you will. Your friends and family will be so happy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let this simmer and bubble a little bit. And while we do that, Liz, do you have a question?
Yes, Melissa, does the LACTAID milk cook in a roux any differently than regular dairy milk?
Oh, great question, Liz. You know what? No, the LACTAID milk is real dairy, just without the lactose, so it's gonna cook in the roux exactly like regular milk would. Okay, so this just needs another minute or so.
It's looking good.
Yeah, you're gonna whisk it until it starts to bubble, and it's gonna thicken really quickly once you do that. But while
Fabulous.
we're waiting, why don't we go to Twitter?
Sure. Okay, so we have incoming question here from Twitter. This is from Sarah Hasnan. I hope I'm getting Sarah. Yes, Hasnan. And the question is, do LACTAID products contain gluten? So most milk and dairy products, including most LACTAID products, do not contain gluten. The only product that LACTAID brand has that has gluten is the cookies and cream ice cream. So that's the good news, is that the majority of the dairy foods out there do not have gluten in them.
I mean, and it's right there in the title, right? Cookies
Exactly,
and cream. Cookies
exactly.
and gluten. Now,
A
side
little bit
note,
of a hint, yes.
this actually has gluten because I just put in flour.
Yes.
But that came from the flour, not from the lactate.
There you go.
So just keeping things straight. All right, I think our mixture is coming together and it's starting to thicken. See how when it bubbles, I mean, it really starts to thicken
Yes.
rather quickly. So it's a real fast thing. And look, see how it got all creamy and
fabulous.
smooth?
Oh, it looks
Let's put a
wonderful.
little salt and pepper in there. Don't mind if we do. Voila. And now we're gonna add in a bounty of root vegetables.
Yum.
I chose these vegetables because, well, it's fall. It's perfect
Yes,
for, you know.
perfect harvest vegetables.
It's perfect harvest vegetables. So I've got 2 cups of butternut squash, 2 cups of sweet potatoes. Put those on in. Voila. Look at that, beautiful.
Great.
Half a cup of carrots, half a cup of parsnips.
Wonderful color.
Yeah, beautiful color
Doesn't that look
and
great?
great flavor. And lots of nutrients here. And then we're gonna stir this up. Now this is gonna take about 10 minutes or so to cook down and to get soft. So I will do this.
And while you're doing that, how about I see about our next Twitter question?
Great, perfect.
This is coming from Vumana, and Vumana is asking, how are LACTAID dairy products real dairy but still lactose free? So the LACTAID dairy products contain lactase, which is a natural enzyme that breaks down lactose. And in doing that, the lactose is that naturally occurring sugar. And so the lactase comes in and breaks it into galactose and glucose that are then easily digested by your body. So that's the beauty of the LACTAID products. They've done the work for you.
Wow, and who doesn't love galactose?
Well, there you go.
You got galactose, Lana.
You gotta have your sugars. So we're gonna move on to one more question. So Melissa, this
Yes.
question's for you.
Okay.
This is coming from A. Du Bois. Do recipes taste different when you use LACTAID products in place of other dairy products?
Well, you know, the short answer is no. Because
Okay.
it's real dairy, I can swap out regular milk for my LACTAID milk, and no one in my family is the wiser. And believe me, I have 4 little girls, and they
can't pull a fast one on them.
No, you cannot pull fast ones on them. So I feel safe in saying that if they don't notice the difference in a recipe, you won't notice the difference in a recipe.
Yep, and I remember some of the taste test stories that you've shared, and yeah, they're gonna keep you honest, right?
Yes, they do. And in fact, my kids, I will tell you, the one place where they really do notice the difference is they love the LACTAID ice cream more than any other ice cream.
Oh.
Like it has like a creaminess to it that they all love. So yeah, that's the one. Like they see LACTAID ice cream and they get
yes.
really, really excited.
Happy
they love
campers
it.
in your
Very
house.
happy campers. Yeah, but in recipes, you just swap away.
Fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to take another Twitter
Okay.
question. This is coming from Susanna, and the question is, how many servings of dairy should we be getting? So the dietary guidelines for Americans recommend that those who are 9 years of age and older get 3 servings of low-fat and fat-free dairy foods. That's milk, cheese, and yogurt, so there's a little bit of variety there. And the great news is also that the most recent guidelines concluded that there's moderate evidence that shows when we get those 3 servings, we actually have better bone health, and this is especially true for children and adolescents, but also a reduced risk for cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and even lower blood pressure in adults. So there are some amazing health benefits to be gained when we get those 3 servings of dairy a day.
And you know, it's kind of easy to do. Like I know for us, like we use the lactate on our cereal or in oatmeal or, you know, in lots of ways. It's not just sitting down and having a glass of milk with cookies, although a fantastic way to get at least one of your 3 servings. So,
Yes.
okay, our veggies here, they have just a couple of more minutes until they're soft.
It's looking wonderful.
Yeah, I think it is. You know, it takes about 10 minutes. We're going to sneak in our chicken just a couple minutes early. Why not? There we go.
Great.
I think it's pretty close. All right, I've got about 2
Okay.
cups of cooked chicken. Now this can be leftover chicken. It can be you know, rotisserie chicken. It can be
Leftover Thanksgiving turkey. Yes.
When we saw this, we're like, oh, I know what we're making with our
I know what I'm
leftovers.
making.
I know. Perfect. So I'm gonna get this to go in, and this is just gonna cook for a few more minutes. Do you want to grab the pie crust?
Sure, I'm gonna grab that for you.
Perfect. Now today, we're using a pre-made pie crust. Actually, I should just say thank you, Lana, for taking all the time and energy to make this pie crust for
my
us.
pleasure, Melissa.
You made it so beautifully.
And so much energy got exerted into opening that canister.
I
so.
bet. And unrolling it. These things do not unroll themselves, do
Oh
they?
no, that's complex.
That is tricky. But you know what? Hey, listen, when it's the holidays, sometimes you want to save a little extra time. So don't be shy about going to the store and getting a pre-made pie crust. No problem. If not, if you've got a little extra time, go ahead and make your own. That'll make anything a little bit extra special. But
Sure.
today we went with the easy. So we just took the pie crust, we unrolled it, pressed it into a 9-inch pan, and then we just press it all around. We've got our second one on up the ready.
Great.
All right, let's go ahead and get this guy in here. Let's see. We're gonna pour in this mixture, but look at that creamy, beautiful gravy.
Oh, it looks
You know, doesn't it?
fabulous.
That is
Absolutely
this-
wonderful.
This is the kind of dish that a lot of people who are lactose intolerant will shy away from.
Exactly.
Because you look at this creamy goodness and you think, oh, well, you can already imagine how that's going to feel to eat. But this is such a treat that our whole family can eat it.
Such great news.
Honestly, it really is. Okay, well, I'm going to grab it. Why don't
Okay.
you pour it in?
Sure.
Let's see if we can do this without
Yeah,
making a
I
big
know
mess.
this is definitely a arm workout. I'm going to try and get
That's
that
all
all
right.
in there.
We're tough. We can do
There
it.
we go.
Ooh, that creamy
Oh,
gravy.
yum, yum,
Voila.
yum. Look at that. Oh my goodness,
Perfect.
Melissa.
Look at that. Great
That
team.
just looks
You know,
wonderful.
I could use a Lana Franson around my house all the time.
I would love a Melissa the Arabian to follow me around.
Perfect. Alrighty, so now we're gonna unroll our,
Okay.
you know what, let's do this. Let's just get this evenly
creaminess,
distributed.
okay.
Yeah.
I think I scooped out, I made a little.
There we
heavy
go.
on one.
I just
There you
would
go.
feel bad for the people who eat this
This
side of
side,
it.
exactly,
They don't get
to
the
get
creaminess
gypped
of
of
this.
the,
Exactly. All right.
Looking out for people.
Well, you know, that's what I do. I'm a giver. All right, roll it on the top. Just pour, we're taking the second crust, put it on top, and then we're just going to fold the crust over, and then you're going to crimp it. You can use your fingers. You can use, you know, a fork. Some people like to use. We want to do fork?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. All right. So, and while we do this, let's see if we have a question. Liz, do you have a question? I think we don't have a question for Liz, but that's okay because we got plenty of activity going on
yeah.
with our fork. All right, do we maybe have a Twitter question?
Let's see. Okay. Yes, we do.
Oh, well,
This
then.
is coming from Lady Music, and she's asking you, Melissa, what other lactose-free dairy holiday recipes do you recommend?
Oh, lactose-free dairy holiday recipes. You know, I will tell you what. I love the sweet potato pie that it's on the LACTAID website or on the Facebook
Yum.
page. I love that because it's so creamy and it's such a classic
Perfect for the holidays.
holiday dish that you think that you might not be able to have. We've got the chicken cheesy crescents that are also on the LACTAID website. Those are
Ooh.
wintry and stick to your ribs and
Perfect for
creamy
the
and
season.
cheesy and delicious. So yeah, those are a couple of options. There we go.
That looks
you know
wonderful.
what we need to
and
do?
the
Yeah.
little slit on top,
Yes.
right?
So we've crimped the crust. Now, what you want to do here is you want to put in some slits into the top of the crust so that the steam will escape and you don't get a soggy crust. Now, in my family growing up, my mom used to put in our initials So
That is just darling.
And
I love the
isn't that sweet?
monogrammed pie.
Isn't that sweet? I have to say, now I have 4 daughters.
Oh, how do you manage
I do
that?
it, like the pie like falls apart because there's like
Sorry,
more.
girls.
Yeah, there's more initials than there is crust.
Or you
But-
rotate around, right? Give
Yes.
everybody a chance to have their own pie.
That's a little bit tricky, but anyway, just a thought. Okay, we put in the slits. Everyone has their own touches that they want to make to a pie. All right, so this is going to go into the oven
Great.
for about 55 minutes. And did we get Liz back? No, we didn't get Liz back.
Okay.
Darn, Liz, we miss you already. Gosh. Well, anyway, Liz.
Okay.
So let's get this going in the oven.
All right.
And for you guys at home, in this recipe, I use nutrient and hearty seasonal vegetables like the butternut squash, the parsnips, the carrots, the sweet potato. But you could easily swap out for classic pot pie veggies or use whatever veggies you happen to have on hand that week. So a really versatile recipe. All right, that went into the oven, 425 degrees
Yep.
for about 55 minutes. Now, here's a tip. If the edge of the crust starts getting a little bit too brown, go ahead and just put what's called a collar, a foil collar, just a strip of foil around the edge of your pie crust, and that'll keep the crust from turning from getting too caramelized, which is code for burnt.
Got it.
So,
These are some great tips, Melissa. You are just upping my game here with all these great tips. So that's a great one.
Well, you know what? That's why we're here, is
Yep.
to give you some tips and fun things that you can do for the holidays. Okay, so once your pie has cooked for about 55 minutes, you want to pull it out of the oven and let it sit for about 10 minutes so that the gravy has a chance to thicken a little bit, and then
Okay.
it's not so steaming, scorching hot,
Okay.
because that gets hot inside
yeah.
a pot pie. Okay, so here we have.
Doesn't
have the
that look
pie.
amazing?
It does look amazing. It's because we made it for you in advance.
beautiful.
Yeah, but we wanted to make sure that you had a chance to see what it looked like on the inside, and since it takes 55 minutes, we went ahead and made one in advance. So we're going to go ahead and cut that open. And Jennifer, do you have a question?
Yes, the dairy in the chicken pot pie, will that help somebody get all the nutrients from the dairy they need for the rest of the day? It doesn't seem like that much milk to include in the daily diet.
Great question, and you're right. By only eating this chicken pot pie, you won't reach your recommended daily serving of low-fat or fat-free dairy products. But what we're recommending is that you include real dairy products that are lactose-free, such as LACTAID milk, in recipes like this one, and also in others. You can use it with your cereal, or you can make oatmeal with milk instead of water, or just enjoy an ice-cold glass of milk instead of avoiding dairy altogether. And as I mentioned earlier in the program, avoiding dairy foods because of the discomfort they cause means potentially missing out on those essential nutrients like calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin D, as well as that high-quality protein, those essential nutrients that we don't want to miss out on. So Melissa, I don't know if I can wait any longer, but I would love to take a taste of this pie.
Well, then you are in luck. And by the way, when you said, if you only ate the chicken pot pie, because that was kind of my plan.
I just ruined it for you.
Yeah. I was just going to eat this all in the name of getting dairy. But okay, if you insist,
Okay,
I will do.
I'm gonna get this ready for you.
Okay, let's see.
Incoming.
Let's get this guy come in. Yes. Wow. Voila.
There we go.
Oh, hold
Look at
on. There's
that.
more. There's
Oh, is
more to
there
come
more?
there.
Okay.
You know what? Let me get this guy out,
Okay.
and then we'll.
Sounds good.
There we go. There we go. Voila.
There. Oh,
I-
look at that.
I
Oh,
made this for my
goodness.
family, and my daughter Valentine was like, "Oh, come here, little fella." So every time she did that, whenever I cut it, I'm like, "Oh, come here, little fella." There we
Oh, that
go.
looks
There we
awesome.
go. I know this is the fun of it, is having a little bit of the extra goodies on the side. But look at that. You get that whole variety of vegetables and the creamy gravy.
Wow.
There we go. Voila.
Melissa, that just looks wonderful.
All
and
right.
here is your fork.
Oh, perfect.
So this, just the beauty of what you put together. I love the harvest vegetables. I love that we've got big, robust flavors going on in here.
I love it. And I love the creamy,
Wow.
the creamy sauce.
That is delectable. Absolutely scrumptious.
Doesn't that say fall?
Oh my goodness.
Creamy
It has it
goodness to you.
written all over.
Does that say it to all of you? Can you see how creamy and fantastic it is? But this is a perfect thing to make, for Thanksgiving week, or as we talked about before, taking your leftover Thanksgiving
Perfect opportunity.
turkey, going in this direction with it.
Just the right balance of flavors.
And a good trick to think about when you're doing Thanksgiving leftovers is to completely switch up the flavor profile.
Yes.
So that way your palate is sort of fooled into thinking it's getting something new.
Yep.
And this is a whole different flavor profile. You're gonna get the butternut squash, the carrots, the parsnips. So it's something that's really fall and really Thanksgiving-y, but it's not the exact same flavor profile. So this is a perfect Saturday after Thanksgiving recipe to have in your hip pocket. Really easy. And as you saw, we made it live. We didn't bake it live, but we made it live, and it's really fast. Okay. So, before we move on to dessert.
Yes. I'm
let's
thinking
see
a Twitter question.
That's what
okay.
I'm thinking too. Oh my God, this is why we're friends.
Yes, because we're just connecting on that
it's
same
you and me.
wavelength.
That's
It's working.
amazing.
It's
Okay,
working,
perfect.
Melissa.
All right.
Okay, so here we go. This one's for you, Melissa.
Okay.
This is coming from Karen Kafer, and she's asking, how did you get into cooking?
Oh, Karen, that's a good question. Thanks so much for asking. Well, actually, I've been cooking since I was about 5. And it really started with my mom when I was in kindergarten. My mom, right around the holidays, she wanted to invite over some of my little girlfriends, my kindergarten girlfriends. And so she invited them over, and we were always on a very strict budget because my mom was a college student, raising 2 girls. And so she brought these my little girlfriends over, and my sister's girlfriends over, and we had cookies and cocoa. Just something really simple. And we sat around the piano and we sang, Christmas carols and holiday songs. And
memory.
it was this really simple but sweet event that then turned into an annual tradition for us. So that became our mother-daughter holiday tea. So we had those all growing up. But it was really that annual mother-daughter tea that got me to love cooking for people. And it really it really showed me the ability to nourish people and to cook for them, how that can be such a special expression of love for the people that come into your home. And that's what I love about the holidays. And that's what I love about these recipes is we're welcoming people into our homes and making food that tastes good to everybody, that makes everybody feel welcome. So, having somebody who can't have lactose, to be able to come in and be able to have a full
Be a part of everything
and enjoy it all without any discomfort is really special. And that's why I love Lactaid so much. Is it's such a part of how I cook for my family and how I cook for friends and the holiday season. So
I think that's an amazing food memory, and then just how the simplicity of cocoa and just the bonding and where that led you. That's just amazing.
And
it's
that's what
absolutely
food
amazing.
is. Ultimately, right? Aren't we nourishing not just our bodies but also our souls? So
We
thank you for that beautiful question.
Wonderful. So you know what? I'm going to take another question.
great.
And this one's for you, Melissa.
Oh, okay.
This is coming from Amanda Joy.
Okay.
And the question is, how do you come up with those lactose-free recipes?
Oh, yes. You want to know the genius behind the madness behind the genius. I'll tell you what. I go to my classic recipes and I like to give them a little bit of a twist. So, like the chicken pot pie. I went with, I love those classic recipes and being able to bring in Lactaid and bring in the creaminess and be able to serve it to my whole family. And later on, we're gonna see my lemon ginger pudding, for instance.
Can't wait for
real
dessert.
classic, really easy to pull together, but a little bit of a twist because I've got ginger in it. So kind of starting with my family's favorites and then finding a creative way to bring in Lactaid, like for instance, the creamy dressing.
Yes.
Finding a
Something
creative
you
way.
like.
So I start with something I love anyway, and then I bring in
It
the
makes
Lactaid.
complete sense. It makes complete sense to go to the things that you know you like and then just swap and know that you can make it lactose free.
That's exactly what I do, and that way everybody can eat it. I can't afford to make 5 different meals for everybody.
Oh yes, that's
I'm a
just
one
chaos.
meal
Yeah.
family. So yeah, for sure.
And that works.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so do we have have Liz. Liz, do we have a question?
Yes, I like to make my chicken pot pie with green beans and peas. So can you change the vegetables you're using in this recipe?
Okay, great. Yes. You know, and I'm so glad that you asked that. Yes. And we talked a little bit about it before, but that's the beauty of having a recipe like this chicken pot pie. You know, I've used the butternut squash and the carrots and the parsnips, but you can use whatever you have in your crisper drawer, even if it's not all that crisp. So that's a great, in fact, this is actually a great way to use up those vegetables that are starting to get a little bit less crisp and you're thinking maybe I don't want to eat them, you know, just raw or in a easy steam. Go ahead, you know, peel them on up and cook them up into this creamy gravy, add some chicken, and you have got yourself a chicken pot pie. All right.
Yum.
So yes, I know. Right, okay, so shall we switch to dessert?
I am all about dessert,
All right.
Melissa.
Oh, are you?
I love dessert.
You know, I think there are two schools of thought on this. There are people who say that dessert is really the best part of any meal. Are you in that?
I'm in
are you
that
camp?
group. Yeah,
I was gonna say,
yes.
I do love a little
have to
sweet.
admit. Yep,
All right.
and I'm going to move this over here.
Let's get rid of this pie. And when I say get rid of, I mean
Save
hold
it
it
for
until
later.
after, when we can eat without worrying about looking like we're stuffing our face
Yes,
on TV.
right?
Great. That'll be next. All right. And let's wipe this down. All right.
Okay.
So let's talk about dessert here. Okay, so today I've made a lactose-free lemon ginger pudding, which we
Look
talked
at
about before.
this.
Look at that. How beautiful is that?
Yes, love it.
You know, and pudding is such a fast, easy thing to make from scratch. I think that when people realize how fast it is, I think that they will be making it more often. I mean, I almost don't see why there are mixes for puddings because it's so easy to make your own. And I will tell you, that pudding has a special place in the hearts of my family and my girls. In fact, it all started, settle in, this is gonna be a long story, no, I'm kidding. But it actually all started when I was a little kid and my sister and I, we would on Saturday nights watch The Love Boat and Fantasy Island. I'm dating myself.
No, it's all right. Set the stage.
Picture this.
I can see it.
Tattoos coming out. And we would have pudding parties, which sounds a little bit more,
I love it.
It sounds more exciting than it was. Pudding party just means we made pudding.
Yes, but hey, you add the word party in there and it just kicks it up in excitement.
Does. That's
So
exactly. So we would have these pudding parties and we would make pudding. My sister and I would make pudding like all the time growing up. That was like our big Saturday night thing to do.
Fun.
So I've carried that tradition over a little bit with my own daughters, and we do movie nights and we do pudding parties, which again is a little bit overselling the pudding.
Well, but I love that you make it a family affair,
Yes.
that everyone's involved, and it's something that the kids can be a part of, and another food memory, actually, that they will probably grow up and want to do that with their families. I think that's wonderful.
And it's easy to do. And here's the crazy thing. A lot of folks who are lactose intolerant will look at a creamy pudding and think, oh, that's not something that I can eat. But by using LACTAID milk, I ensure that everyone in my family can fully enjoy the pudding.
Yep.
So this pudding, it's a lemon ginger pudding. So I've got cornstarch in there. I've got, of course, LACTAID milk. I've got a little bit of lemon zest, some lemon juice, and I have a fresh ginger root. So and a little bit of sugar. Really easy to put together. You just whisk it all up in a pan and then get it to it's simmering and bubbling and then it starts to thicken. You put it into some little cups or into a big bowl like we used to do because we would just eat it from the big bowl. Were we the only ones who did that? Do you do that?
Oh no, hey, we do that with a lot of things.
Oh,
so
okay.
not just the pudding,
Not just
but
pudding. Okay, so we would get like a big bowl, and we may have done a big bowl for my sister and a big bowl for myself. But anyway, who's to judge? And then you just stick it in the fridge for about an hour, so it's nice and chilled, and ta-da!
Beautiful.
And then you have some pudding.
So here's the common thread, because you've been doing recipes that simple ingredients, and you just put them in the right combination, and just to always know that there's a lactose-free option out there is just really wonderful for folks that are listening that think, I've got lactose intolerance and I have to avoid dairy. No, you don't. And this is another
right.
wonderful example of that.
And you know what else is nice about pudding party with LACTAID? is that when my girls have sleepover night, that's the other thing that we do, is that every girl's allowed to have one friend over for a sleepover, which really quickly turns into 8 girls because I have
a party.
4. Yeah. So when I say it's a party, I actually really mean it. But what's nice about it is I can create a pudding, and my girls don't feel like they're being left out, because I think that's what's really hard as as a little girl. If everyone in the family is getting one thing, but they're getting sort of this
Something
special
else.
thing on the side, it can sometimes feel a little bit more marginalizing.
Isolating, yes.
And I think that what's great about the lactate here is, this is creamy and everybody can eat it. Everybody's comfortable. And speaking of everybody eating it,
Yes,
I think
time.
we eat it too.
All right, Melissa, this looks wonderful.
You know what it is too. You know what? I love it when I love my own food.
I love your food too. This is wonderful.
And do you taste the little warmth of the ginger?
It's very subtle,
It is.
but it's just got this scrumptious combination of flavors going on that,
And
wow.
once you learn how to make one pudding, you can swap out the ingredients and really do whatever you want. You could be doing orange zest with a little bit of fresh basil. You could, put in, what sometimes we do? We'll do it with just vanilla without the lemon, and then we'll drop in some chocolate chips at the end and swirl it in. So then there's like a little bit of chocolate.
A little crunch in there.
Yeah, you could do ginger
Nice.
with cinnamon and really bring in some of the some of the warmth. So lots of options here. Once you master one pudding, you've mastered them all.
Oh, it's wonderful. You know what? I'm enjoying this tremendously, but we've got some questions coming in
Okay.
on Twitter.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to
great.
ask. This is coming from Erin Cofield.
Okay.
This is for you, Melissa.
Okay.
And Erin is asking, how did you introduce your children to lactaid milk?
Well, in my family, we have a one meal rule.
Okay.
So I just started cooking with lactate milk, and honestly, nobody noticed the difference. Now, my first daughter that we realized was lactose intolerant, Valentine, we switched her very overtly to lactate milk, and
Okay.
she was thrilled because for her, it was an immediate difference.
Ah.
She went from being uncomfortable every time she had milk to being
Wow.
completely comfortable. So for her, she was, the fact that it was a different color carton or whatever just didn't bother her one teeny tiny bit. And I will tell you this, you know what? I could serve it to all of my kids, and they just, they were none the wiser. All was great.
Wonderful.
So honestly, I just swapped it out. It wasn't like a big thing. I just swapped it out and went on my merry way.
I like the one meal solution. So you're not doing the short order cook and trying to accommodate a lot of different needs, and that it's agreeable for everyone.
Yeah, well, and who
Great
has that kind of
solutions.
time?
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, that's time is of the essence.
Yes.
So when you
if
can
you
accomplish
have that kind of time, go get a massage instead. Don't make 2 meals. Make 1 meal and go get a mani-pedi. That's
Exactly.
what I say you do with your extra 30 minutes.
Yep. Let's see. So it looks like we might have time for one more question.
great.
So this is coming from Sarah Conley. And Sarah's asking, my boyfriend is lactose intolerant. Should I make lactose-free meals for both of us? Okay, so right along with what we're saying, since lactate products are real dairy and they contain all the same essential nutrients of dairy foods, enjoying those lactose-free meals for everyone is really a great solution. And I think it just makes life easier to be able to have that convenience of that one meal. And with the options that Lactaid brand has, I think it gives you those ingredients to be able to do the versatility that we've shown today.
Well, and you know what else I think is crazy? I think a lot of people think that you're either, lactose intolerant or you're not. And they don't really realize that there's this whole spectrum
so
of
true,
lactose
Melissa.
intolerance. So the funny thing is, once you start making the recipes with Lactaid, you might actually find yourself feeling a little bit better, because
No doubt.
a lot of people have a little bit of lactose intolerance, or it could even grow over time. Like that's what happened to my husband.
Yes.
When he got to his 40s. It really got worse as he kind of progressed through his 30s and toward his 40s. So
I think that's a great
not
point.
a bad strategy.
It's a great point. And just the fact that lactose intolerance is very individualized. So to that point, many people think that lactose intolerance occurs in children, but the fact of the matter is it occurs mostly in adults. And it is something that we tend to see as you get older, exactly what you've experienced, Melissa. So, it looks like we're winding down here and that it's going to be very close for us to sign off. So just want to make sure everyone remembers that just because you or someone you know is lactose intolerant, it doesn't mean that it's necessary to avoid dairy products. Lactose-free dairy like LACTAID products, low-fat or fat-free natural cheeses, and yogurt are a great way to include dairy in your diet and also help ensure you get all of the great nutrients we talked about today.
And thanks to everyone for joining Lana and me. I had fun today.
I had a great time, as always.
And we hope that you had a lot of fun. And Jennifer and Liz, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you all learned something about cooking with LACTAID products and how to make the delicious dairy dishes you love, even if you are lactose intolerant or have the boyfriend who is. And don't forget, you can find all of today's recipes on the LACTAID brand website, and you can get more information at nationaldairycouncil.org.